I'm the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show, and I'm in the starting lineup.
I'm Terry Quillian, and I'll be in the starting lineup every Saturday morning.
I'm Case Kiefer, and I'm part of the starting lineup.
The starting lineup, 10:30 to 11 on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning. Welcome back to another exciting week here of the starting lineup. I am Tony Curry along with Kip Keeper. We have a special guest in Monty Ballard. We'll explain why he is here to answer some of your questions in just a few minutes. But first of all, good morning, gentlemen. Everything good?
Everything's fantastic.
We have some
Another
poker
great
chips.
Saturday.
We have some poker chips sitting here in the middle of the table.
We do.
I want to talk about some gambling here. Of course, the Alabama Senate is reviewing some of the gambling laws and rules and regulations for the state of Alabama. I want to back off just a little bit. Kip, of course, you're the executive director and commissioner of the Birmingham Racecourse Commission. You've been part of this for a long period of time. Monty Ballard with Style Advertising, who of course represents the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Yeah.
First of all, for people who don't know, it seems like every couple of years this gambling thing comes up. It goes away as quickly as it comes up. This one looks like it may stick a little bit. And I know there's some people already fighting those things. But talk about what's the difference between what the Birmingham Racecourse does as far as in bingo machines. I know there's bingo machines in Walker County. I see churches with bingo machines. So one day they're open, the next day they're closed. Where are we with gambling? What is legal, what's not legal, what's pari-mutuel, what's not pari-mutuel? Kind of explain that briefly, please.
Electronic bingo is not legal in Jefferson County, not legal in Walker County, basically not legal anywhere in Alabama due to a recent Supreme Court decision. So what we have at the Birmingham Racecourse is a kind of an ingenious device that allows that kind of entertainment to be offered. It's just an extension of racing because the result when you push the button or pull the crank, the result is based on a archived race, a horse race from maybe 20 years ago that's randomly selected from a giant database. And depending on how that race runs, numbers are selected. You can select them or the machines can select them. So basically what we're doing is under the definition of pari-mutuel betting, which is race betting, and that's how we're allowed to have these machines. So what this proposal does, and yes, it comes up every couple of years, but Tony, do you realize that nobody in Alabama has been able to bet on legalization of gambling since 1999? They have not
been able to vote on it.
Yeah, vote on it. I said bet on it.
Yeah,
that was a Freudian slip. But
everybody bets in Alabama, but nobody gets.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is this will be the first time, if it gets to the ballot in November, that the people in Alabama have had the opportunity to consider it and vote on it since 1999.
As representing the Birmingham Racecourse Casino from Style Advertising, Monty Ballard, how would it benefit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino in order for legislation to pass in billing while you still have pari-mutuel? I would assume that you're kind of happy in what you're doing right now. How would you like to see it proceed from this point on?
Well, we're happy, but we still do simulcast horse racing and dog racing and simulcasting from all over the country. But and like Kip pointed out, we do have the machines. However, if this bill comes to fruition and we get a chance to vote on it, only thing we want to do is have people get a chance to vote. Like Kip said, no one's had a chance to vote on it. But that would mean we'll have games of chance. We could have poker out there. We could have real slot machines.
Sports betting.
Sports betting is the most important thing because everybody in the state knows that sports betting is really big in Alabama.
Yep.
So anyhow. But the beauty is that we're going to pay a tax. We'll be paying a tax, and the tax is going to go back to the cities, the county, as well as so many charities that people don't realize. Charity giving is, last year we gave about this much money to local charities. Was it 6 million? 4 million last year. It's going to be close to 7 million this year.
Right.
To charities. And if we're allowed to vote on it and add more machines and more opportunities to vote, you're going to see charities just get plenty
the ante
more.
goes way up.
Ante goes way up.
And well, how that would also affect our schools?
It's going to go. Right now, it goes to schools.
Yeah.
It goes to schools, hospitals, local communities, fire departments, just about colleges. Everybody.
So it's my understanding that Alabama is one of only 5 states that doesn't have some type of lottery.
And that's
correct?
that's the other part of this. This would create a state lottery in Alabama for the first time ever, and that lottery is the engine that would completely fund education. Now, every bit of the proceeds from the lottery would go to education. So it's high time we've had that, because other states, if you have a B average in high school, you get a free college education.
Yeah.
We need to have programs like that to help tens of thousands of people in our own state.
And I remember when we voted this in 1999, there was so much fat. It was such a huge bill that everyone was actually voting on. What is the issue in that if we're going to go casino gambling, or we're going to have, why do we have to have 10 casinos in the state of Alabama? Most people like myself don't have a problem with gambling, don't have a problem with state lottery, want a state lottery, don't have to drive to Atlanta to win $1 billion. But we don't want a casino in every major city in the state of Alabama. Is there any road in between that we go, or does it have to be all or none?
Well, right now we've got 3 casinos in the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
3, we're betting 3 casinos, and that's bingo casinos. That is the Porch Creek
It's
Indians
not blackjack,
casinos.
it's not, it's just,
No.
it's, yeah.
But it's 3 casinos, and it's at Atmore, Alabama, Wetumpka, and Montgomery, which is the Wind Creek casinos. So they will then add casinos at all 4 parimutuel facilities, which are the dog tracks,
Okay.
which is Birmingham, Macon County, Mobile,
County.
and Greene County. So right there, that brings it to
7.
7. There is a constitutional amendment in Lowndes County that allows some form of bingo. They will receive this too, and a constitutional amendment in South Alabama that would allow it. And then
in Houston County, which I'm not sure
Houston-
what city is affiliated with that.
I'm not
but-
sure. But, and then the Porch Creek Indians would have one facility that's off their reservation somewhere in North Alabama, to be determined.
Okay, so
So that's your 10.
Kip Keefer, he is, of course, the executive director of the Birmingham Race Commission, and of course, Monty Ballard here represents the Birmingham Racecourse Casino through Style Advertising. So you obviously are a man of many means. You go out to Las Vegas, your children live out there, you know how things are regulated out there, and it's really, really tight. Another thing that I think a lot of people in the state of Alabama are concerned with is we know how politics are here in this state. If in fact this thing would get voted through, who's going to regulate it? Who's going to be over that regulatory commission? And who's going to make sure the money's going where it should go?
This referendum would create a state gaming commission, which would oversee the aspects of what Monty just talked about, the sports betting and the slot, the machine gaming in these facilities. It also would create a separate privatized. They would actually hire or create a firm that would run the lottery, that had the expertise to tie into all these other states. So you have these mega million jackpots and different things. So it would be interact with all these other national entities. So it does create 2 distinctive regulatory agencies that their only job will be to make sure the revenue is collected and apportioned properly. And it's a big change, because the state of Alabama has never had a state gaming board before. It has just fallen to the individual counties where it's legal, including here in Jefferson County, where that's basically the Birmingham Racing Commission entity. The same thing is true in Macon and Greene and
Mobile.
and Mobile, the other counties that have racetracks. This would create a state agency.
What would you say to people who obviously say, listen, we have gambling everywhere now? It used to be us growing up. You could only go to Atlantic City or Las Vegas. It was special. Now you can go anywhere and pretty much gamble. Why should we have to have it here in Alabama? And a lot of people would say, listen, do people really spend that much driving to Atlanta to get lottery tickets? Is it just lottery, or do we need to go all the way with the casinos? What's your thoughts?
Well, we are going, our state is surrounded by people who have gambling. Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. They all have a form of casino or the
Lotteries.
Yeah, the lotteries. All have lotteries. So what it's going to do is it's going to keep the money here at home. And that's what we need to do. Instead of sending all our money elsewhere and letting Alabama residents educate children in Florida and Georgia and Mississippi so they can go to college, we'll take all that money and put it right here, bring it right here back to Alabama, and let us put something forward so we can educate our children too. If you get a 2.8 average usually a C plus is all you need usually to
Heck,
go
I
to
could
college
even
for free.
go to college on that.
Go to college for free.
And Tony, you hear opponents still using the same objection that they did in the 1970s. Well, this hurt families, and people are going to become addicted to gaming, and this is going to be terrible. There's going to be cats with dogs, and it's just going to be this terrible trauma for our state. That's really outdated, because at your fingertips online, by a 2-hour drive, you can be anywhere playing any casino-style game. So the objection this is going to change the fabric of our state is absolutely absurd.
Executive Director of the Birmingham Racecourse Commission, Kip Keefer, of course, also co-host of Starting Lineup every Saturday morning here on ABC 3340. And of course, Monty Ballard, thank you so much for coming by this morning and kind of filling us in a little bit. Any chance we can get a Jackson Brown residency at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino? Since they got it out in Vegas, can we get like a Sammy Hagar residency?
The racecourse is going to have to expand. You never know what will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And, if this does happen, that opens the door to all kinds of other entertainment, like shows of that nature, because it becomes a regular casino environment. And I think from a racing standpoint, folks that miss horse and dog racing, very good chance it would come back if this goes through.
I think the last time I saw a great band, it was Guns N' Roses out there.
That's right.
The biggest concert.
I think I lost a pair of
Alabama
red
history.
pumps myself out there in that crowd. This is the Starting Lineup with Kip Keefer and Tony Curry. Back at you.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Tony Curry Radio is the place to be, of course. It's a free app. It takes you about 3 or 4 seconds, Android or Apple. Over 100,000 people have already downloaded it. When I first started this thing about 4 years ago, it was just a classic rock app. Get classic rock anywhere. So I had to add some unique programming like Kip Keefer's Need to Know, The Keefer and Curry Show, Heart of Alabama Food Bank, Damon Johnson, who joined us here in the Starting Lineup last week. He's the lead guitarist for Leonard Skinner. He does a show, Austin Hanks, Blues Almighty. We have the Students of the Game. We have Dark Side of the Pooch, all these wonderful things. We have a brand new podcast starting with UAB. Trent Dilfer is going to start joining us starting next week. And Trent will be on the Starting Lineup here in the next couple of weeks as well. Andy Kennedy, as he gets ready for March Madness, will also join us right here on this stage here on ABC 3340. But get that app, Tony Curry Radio. Check out Kip Keefer, what he's up to, and everything else that classic rock has to offer. The man, the myth, the legend. You like him, you love him. You can't live without him. You know he is. He is the legend with your forecast this Saturday morning.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. I am the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show. I'm here in the Legend Cave where only a few men have ever been allowed to step. Tupac, Bear Bryant, Hank Williams Jr., David Legend, Kip Keefer, Monty Ballard. Only a few men have ever been allowed into the Legend Cave, but you today are here. Before we get out here today, we're going to touch on Alabama basketball. We're going to touch on Alabama football, and we're going to put a few people in SEC jail this week. Let's get started with basketball. I'm waiting on Monty Ballard. He's a little slow today, but he got the pass over to him. Come on, Monty, pick it up like Ronnie Van Zant says. How about that Alabama basketball team Wednesday night, ladies and gentlemen? For 30 minutes, it looked like this team was defeated and Florida was on their way to a great victory. But this Alabama team showed me something Wednesday night. They showed me that they could win without hitting a three-point shot. Finally, they got down and began to block some people out. In the process, I began to see that the development of Nick Pringle, of Sam Waters. I mean, these guys have come along so far on the inside for Alabama that Alabama now is a legitimate threat to go to a Final Four. That's exciting. Woo! That's exciting, baby. As old David Legend used to say, I don't know if I'll live to see an Oriole championship or an Alabama basketball championship, but we may see both, bro, before we get out of here. Now today we take on Kentucky. The new Kentucky against the old Kentucky. We're coming for you, Calipari. We've won 3 of the last 4 championships in the SEC. Alabama's the new Kentucky, and you're the old Alabama. Now let's talk football for a minute. This week, oh, I'm having to swallow, I'm spitting. It's running all down my chin. When I start talking about Alabama, it starts running all down my chin. Like I'm out in the backyard with grandmama and she's feeding me the beans, baby, the macaroni and cheese, the cornbread. Oh, I get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk a little football this week. Alabama with a huge pickup this week. Keon, baby. That's right, Keon Sapp. We picked him up this week from Michigan. He played with Michigan last year. A big-time free safety, a guy that can come in and immediately start. Coach DeBoer is beginning to put the pieces together. Everybody has said this is an 8-4, 10-2 team. But like Paul Harvey used to say, now for the rest of the story, Jalen Melrose, Justin Haynes, Jam Miller, Hollywood Williams, Jalen Hale, Kendrick Law. That sounds a lot like a championship team to me, baby. So don't listen to the idiots, listen to the legend. And I'm no idiot when it comes to Alabama football. There I go, slobbing again. I love you, grandmama. I'm thinking of that cornbread, them pinto beans, baby. Woo, let's get it out of here. Now let me bring back my sword. I'm having to fight these demons. SEC demons everywhere this week coming after Alabama. And I'm about to put a few of them in jail. In 1999, the Philadelphia Eagles had to put a jail inside their stadium. They became the first team in NFL or college history to put a jail inside their stadium. Well, I'm putting a jail inside Greg Sankey's office, and I'm going to start putting some of these idiots in it. Idiot number one, Mike Griffin. You said this week that Alabama is a second-tier program. You have lost your mind. Going to 8th day, God said let there be Alabama football, and it was good. There's no university in the world greater than the Alabama Crimson Tide. How dare you come out of your mouth? I'm pointing at you, Mike Griffin. You go to SEC jail for that stupid comment. The second thing was Cam Newton. You go to SEC jail. This week you said Saban's gone. That means Auburn's back. What did Cliff Strout tell you on your podcast? Auburn sucks. That's what he told you. Auburn sucks. I don't care if Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, whoever is gone. It don't change the fact, Cam Newton, that Auburn sucks. Woo! I love you, Grandma. I'm thanking you for that cornbread running down my chin again. We love you. We get down here on the starting lineup, we go a little crazy. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like the legend. I'm putting everybody in SEC jail. Don't be like the legend. Sports insane.
I am so grateful that Kip Keefer invited me, Tony Curry, to be part of this starting lineup show here on ABC 3340. We've had a blast. We did about 10 or 12 shows. Management at ABC said, you guys are pretty good. We need you back. We need you back for another year. We need you back for, and we're like, okay, great. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to talk about classic rock for a year. We're going to talk about college football for a year. What are we going to do?
Whatever's on our mind.
What are we going to do for a year? One thing we can do is talk about our great clients, and we have some very special guests coming up all the way through basketball season. Yes, we're going to be going out to Las Vegas for more plays. We'll be ready to go for, of course, Coach's first season at Alabama. It's going to be fired up, but we got a whole summer and spring to get through. Southern Precision Staffing, if you are looking for some staffing needs, if your staff is banged up, call them up, 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828, where your word and your handshake means something. I broke bread with Kai McGregory this past weekend. Kai Gregory is just a fantastic guy. Was a perfect 9-0 when he picked on the show. He kind of knows what he's doing too. But he is fantastic with Southern Precision Staffing right here in Hoover, Alabama, serving the United States of America just like the starting lineup does every Saturday morning. Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828.
Case Kiefer's on vacation this week. Yes, Kiefer's actually take vacations after his exhausting NFL season and the hoopla of the Super Bowl. He'll tell you where he's coming from today, a little bit of a surprise, but he is not going to be deterred, Tony, from giving you advice on things that you can get involved with this week in terms of making a wager or two. He goes off the reservation a little bit with some sports you might not expect this week. So without further delay, Case Kiefer from Parts Unknown with his weekly advice.
Hey, it's Case Kiefer with my weekly best bet segment as part of the starting lineup, coming to you this week from Orlando, Florida. I bet that caught you off guard. Usually Las Vegas, the place I'm referencing in this segment, but with football season being over, this is always a time of the year I look to get away a little bit. At least some of my workload diminishes a bit, so try to get away, do something else. But it's getting harder and harder, I got to say, with my betting schedule, because this is actually a huge time of the year for me personally from a betting perspective, and not only in the main sports, which there are a lot of major sports going on right now. I mean, I think college basketball has far surpassed college football for me from a betting perspective. It's probably been the second biggest major sport I've bet behind the NFL the last couple years. It's kind of hard to give many college basketball bets as part of this segment, just with the way the production schedule and lines not being out a lot. I did give out a couple long shot conference futures earlier in the year, Alabama and Creighton. Hope you followed me on those. Creighton not looking so good, though I did like that they blew out UConn to make me feel like I'm not too crazy earlier this week, but they're not going to catch them for the Big East. But Alabama, of course, in good position on the SEC, gave that out at about 8-1, I believe, a couple months ago. So hopefully you jumped on there. But really beyond that, I've just really kind of found my niche, for a lack of better words, in niche sports, really where my betting career has taken off. I plug the weekend wagers column that runs every week on LasVegasSun.com, and that's a reason why it's hard for me to get away, is I hate missing that. There will not be one this week, but it's probably my favorite thing to work on year in and year out. At least 5 bets on 5 different sports every week. As I mentioned last week, it's up over $30,000 over the last 4 years since I launched it. Got off to a good start this year last week with a winning week. I figured since I can't do it, I can't write it this week, being out of town and on vacation, why don't I just bring a smaller version of it to the starting lineup? So I'm going to go to 3 of the staples of that column: mixed martial arts, NASCAR, and golf. The UFC is kind of one of the main things I covered in Las Vegas for many years. When I first got a full-time job there, I launched Talking Points, the betting blog. You now probably know if you listen to this segment a lot, and I covered the UFC full-time, so I feel like I have an edge there. I know the ins and outs pretty well. Golf has really been my most successful sport overall, really what kind of took my betting career off, and hit a lot of outrights when I started taking it more seriously about 4 or 5 years ago. Then, to be honest, NASCAR, another thing I got into at about the same time, but I was about to give it up. I just felt like I was swapping money with the sports book. Never lost a lot, had winning seasons, had slight losing seasons, but decided to give it one more go last year, and I probably got lucky, so knock on wood. But last year, just everything went perfectly. I think it was my best sport by a mile last year. It seemed like I was hitting an outright winner every other race. I did well on the matchup. So we are back for another NASCAR season. Of course, race 2 of the Cup Series this weekend after William Byron wins Daytona 500. So the 3 bets this week going to be on the UFC, NASCAR, and golf. Let's go ahead and start Saturday night in Mexico City. The UFC, I'm going to break down the co-main event between Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez, 2 former 145-pound top contenders. And the winner could be a top contender again now with new champion Ilia Topuria knocking out Alexander Volkanovski last week in a great pay-per-view. This is a really great time to jump on the UFC if you hadn't. There's a lot of great fights coming up, and I like an underdog in this one. I'm going to take the plus 140 with Brian Ortega. I'm not super high on the guy. This would be my least confident of the bets I'm going to share here, but I just think this is way closer to a coin flip, and I think you're getting good value on Ortega, who these two fought 2 years ago, which was the last time Ortega fought, but he was a minus 200 favorite as high as he closed there. Ended up losing, but didn't really get beat, lost by injury. Now getting all the way to plus 140. I think this is going to be a war, a slugfest, and I mean, either guy could be dropped here. I think this is should be closer to minus 110 on both sides. I would play Ortega all the way down to plus 120, but plus 140 here midweek on Brian Ortega will be my first bet. Next segment we will go to is NASCAR in Atlanta, where I'm going to go with a head-to-head that I do think is widely available. A lot of times it's hard to share a head-to-head because they aren't all the same at sports books, but Joey Logano and Daytona 500 champion William Byron, these are 3 of the 4 winners since the repave and reconfiguration of Atlanta, so it makes sense that they're paired together. And I just think Logano overall is faster at these tracks. He had a better showing at the Daytona 500 speed-wise before that late wreck. You can get him minus 105 against William Byron, minus 110 probably more widely available. people. I like Logano here. I think Ford has these tracks figured out. They're really good at these drafting tracks. So give me Joey Logano in a pick-em head-to-head against William Byron. Finally, running out of time, but golf. Let's go ahead and look ahead to the Masters, where I like to put a lot of bets. I like to build a portfolio, but when you're building a portfolio, I think it's best to start with the favorite if you like them and they're at a long price. And I think you can get Scotty Scheffler as high as 10-1 right now. I think he is so far and above the best golfer right now. I would be surprised if he's any higher than plus 650, 7-1 once Augusta finally gets here. So lock in that 10-1 price. I know he's plus 850 a lot of other places. That's fine too. I probably wouldn't go below 8-1. But let's start our Masters portfolio on the show with Scotty Scheffler. There's a taste of my weekend wagers column, which you can find every week on LasVegasSun.com. Brian Ortega, Joey Logano, and Scotty Scheffler this week. Thanks for listening.
I asked the question, Kip, about 10, 15 years ago. I think it was a Twitter question. Previously Twitter, now it's called X.
Yes.
And I said, what's going to happen first in the state of Alabama, legalized marijuana or legalized gambling? And I think about 12 or 13 years ago, it was about a 50-50 shot. It appears that both of them, medicinally speaking, Alabama is already going to have the marijuana. Of course, now everyone wants to be a farmer. Everybody wants to be a farmer. We're voting on it every week. I'm going to be a farmer. I think I'm going to be a farmer. You got people moving back from Colorado just to start farming land here in Alabama. We got that good soil here. And then, of course, we're talking about the gambling thing, which we talked about with Monty Ballard, of course, from Style Advertising. They represent the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, and you have been, of course, a huge part of that for a long period of time. In your heart of hearts, you've seen everything around us expand and grow. What would you like to see best for the state of Alabama when it comes to gambling?
Just to get it organized and stop having the constant issue of illegal places popping up and operating for a while. They're not regulated. When you go and play at a storefront or somebody's basement or wherever it is, you have no guarantees that you have any protections in place. And that's truly gambling. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about physical safety. I'm talking about just the integrity of the games you're playing.
It's 3-card Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's the best thing. This is a part of American society now. All the tired concerns about the problems that gambling creates have been addressed, and real strong regulation where you know what you're getting and you're going to get a fair shake. The integrity of the games is everything.
Where is the gambling law and the vote as far as it going to the public? If in fact it passes the House and the Senate, when will we be able to vote on that?
It has gotten through the House already. Mm-hmm. You have to have it's a constitutional amendment, so you have to have 2/3 vote. Right now it's in the Senate. They need 21 of the 35 votes. It's not moving briskly there. It's been held off for a week. There might be some concerns and some other political angles. So it's not a slam dunk to get through the Senate. But if it does, it will be on the ballot on presidential election day, the first Tuesday in November. And the citizens of Alabama can vote and decide whether or not they want this form of entertainment and have it legalized and regulated.
Make sure you check out the starting lineup. We're on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock. We're always looking for show ideas. We got rock and rollers coming up. We're going to have authors coming up. We're talking about gambling, the things that are most important to you here in the Birmingham and metropolis areas. We got you covered here. We'd love to hear your ideas. You can also, of course, find this man right here, Kip Keefer, all over Tony Curry Radio, info@tonycurryradio.net if you'd like to leave us some information as well. For everyone behind the cameras and in front, we thank you so much. And, of course, we're going to get after it again next week. You never know who's going to show up
in the starting lineup.